Lighter off the bat, do you want to read the first one for us? And Aaron, it's got a two-part piece to it, okay? So one of you guys can be Sadler, the other guys will be, someone else will be Cooper, okay? And you guys read along with them.
What is your age?
I'm 8 and 20.
When did you first begin to work in mills?
When I was 10 years of age.
What were your usual hours of working?
We began at 5 in the morning and stopped at 9 in the night.
What time did you have for meals?
We had just one period of 40 minutes in the 16 hours that was at noon.
What means were taken to keep you awake and attentive?
At times we were frequently strapped.
When your hours were so long, did you have any time to attend a day school?
We had no time to go to day school.
Can you read and write?
I can read, but I cannot write.
Okay,
Oh.
so is that generally a positive document or negative? What's kind of the tone of that document?
Negative.
Pretty negative, okay? It says he's, how old is he? You know, he says it kind of weird. He's 28, I think it's 8 and 20.
Oh, I get it.
8 and 20, I know, that threw me off. And he said at times he was frequently strapped. What does that, what do you mean when he says he's frequently
Strapped in a
strapped?
chair.
I don't know if he's strapped in his chair. He was hit, he was beaten. That's his motivation,
To stay awake.
to stay awake. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's just, hey, wake up, laddie, it's okay. We're gonna be alright. Okay, so again, does this testimony describe positive or negative effects of the Industrial Revolution? We said negative, okay? It says describe the effects of industrialization on children working in the factory. Okay, so go ahead and describe those conditions. Okay, right now we can talk about what conditions did he kind of talk about? Long hours,
40 minutes to eat.
40 minutes to eat, that 12 to 16 hour day, however long it was. He was beaten, he was strapped to make sure he kept working. So go ahead and write some of those down. No, it's just you're just answering the questions from the document. And I'll ask you guys additional questions too.
Under the package. Where's your book at?
Whoa.
Right.
Okay. You're still working? Just keep working on. I'm going to go ahead and read document 2. Okay, it's an excerpt from the testimony of Joseph Hebergam to the Sadler Committee. Okay, Sadler. What is the nature of your illness? I have damaged lungs. My leg muscles do not function properly and will not support the weight of my bones. A doctor has told you that you will die within the year. Is that correct? I have been so told. Did he tell you the cause of your illness? He told me that it was caused by the dust in the factories and from overwork and insufficient diet. To what was your brother's, death attributed to? He was cut by a machine and he died of infection. Do you know of any other children who died at the blank mill? There were about a dozen died during the 2 years and a half that I was there at the blank mill where I worked last. A boy was caught in a machine and had both his thigh bones broke from his knee to his hip. The flesh was ripped up the same as it had been cut by a knife. His hand was bruised, his eyes were nearly torn out, and his arms were broken. His sister, who ran to pull him off, had both her arms broke and her head bruised. The boy died. I do not know if the girl is dead, but she was not expected to live. Did the accident occur because the shaft was not covered? Yes. So is this pretty positive or negative?
Very negative.
Very negative, yes. pretty gruesome too. I know I was kind of cringing whenever I read it. So, you know, it might be pretty obvious. What effect did the working conditions have on the workers? Not safety, not at all. It said there at the bottom, did the accident occur because the shaft was not covered?
Yep.
Of course.
Somebody's college.
What other conditions does he talk about? Malnutrition. We talked about it yesterday. We had that image of the rows of open machinery, the gears turning. And I said if I was walking through this aisle, and the aisle that it showed would be more narrow than this, and every one of your desks represented one of those gears, which is kind of how it looked like they were spread apart. And now I'm tired as a lack of sleep. It's been 14 or 15 hours of my 16-hour day, and all of a sudden I slip or trip, and my pant leg gets caught in those gears. What's going to happen to me? Something very similar to what happened to the people that he's describing here. Okay? So again, there's some of the effects you can describe from that kind of gruesome document. Okay, next two documents. Who wants to read document 3 for me? Harrison. Because you missed the first page after. Document 3. You read that one and I'll read the next one.
I have visited many factories both in Manchester and in the surrounding districts, and I never saw a single instance of corporal chastisement inflicted on a child. They seem to be always cheerful and alert, taking pleasure in the light play of their muscles. As to exhaustion, they showed no trace of it on emerging from the mill in the evening, for they began to skip about. It is moreover my firm conviction that children would thrive better when employed in our modern factories than if it left at home in apartments too often ill-aired, damp, and cold.
Okay. I'll go ahead and read document 4. You are surrounded, as we have constantly shown you throughout this book, with an infinite number of comforts and conveniences which had no existence 2 or 3 centuries ago. These comforts are not used only by a few, but are within the reach of almost all men. Every day is adding something to your comforts. Your houses are better built, your clothes are cheaper, you have an infinite number of domestic utensils. You can travel cheaply from place to place, and not only travel at less expense, but travel 10 times quicker than 200 years ago. Okay? So go ahead, I'll let you guys do it on your own this time, and then we'll talk about it. Go ahead and answer the questions from document 3 and document 4. Okay? You have to read it over. Read it over. You guys think these ones are generally positive or negative so far? I think they're negative. Think they're positive.
Number 3.
But his opinion, yeah, that's what we're going to kind of see different viewpoints of what these conditions are, and whether they're warranted or not. What do you guys think so far? These two documents pretty different from the first two?
Yes.
And they generally positive or negative? Positive. Yeah. Yeah, he definitely could. I mean, it's his factory. He can do as he pleases at this point. Okay, let's talk about them. You're still working. Again, we're gonna go through the questions together. So if you maybe couldn't think of something, we'll kind of think of it as a class. First document. Again, positive or negative? Real positive. So maybe strike a huge contrast to the two we've read. How does Andrew Ure describe the conditions in factories he visited? Alert.
Said it was better to be in the factory than at home because the homes were damp and cold.
At least he's making note of, yeah, their home lives aren't very good. But according to him, what are they doing when they leave the factories?
Skipping.
They're cheerful. They're skipping home. I just had this great, yeah, Laura's not buying it. I'm not buying it either. They're having a great time. They're 12 to 16 hours at work doing the same thing for that entire
Just
time.
like Laddie does on the way to this class, and he uses this class.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, some of you guys are so excited to have been here. Document 4, same thing, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Okay, so what are 3 details? What are some details to support that it's positive from there?
Travel is less expensive, employees,
Definitely.
and houses will build better.
They're built better. What's the time frame he's giving this? Like what is he comparing this time to?
19.
Like over, but he's saying like this thing's way better than the way it was how long ago? So centuries ago, right? So yeah, sure. Could we say that things are way better now than centuries ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're that's kind of just the nature of things. Things improve. Maybe more rapidly in the last, starting from now, the Industrial Revolution on, but things are generally improved. What do you guys think the point of view of these authors are? Well, the last one was first person because it was first-hand accounts, it was testimonies. What I'm saying is like, you knew that the last 2 documents, the people speaking were factory workers. The person making his testimony was a factory worker. Andrew Ure and the working man's companion, the expert from there, what do you think these authors are coming from? What do you think their background is? On the outside looking in? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Do you think these people worked in the factories they're talking about?
No.
Probably not. It might be safe to assume that. They probably just are thinking, they might be defending it because maybe they have an invested interest in it. We don't know that, but again, it's kind of a connecting the dots kind of a thing. Okay? Moving on to document 5 and 6. Again, one of you guys read the first document, I'll read the second. Carlos, you want to read document 5 for me?
Sure. The village contains about 1,500 inhabitants, of whom all who are capable of work and are employed in and about the mills. Of these, there are 500 children who are entirely fed, clothed, and educated by Mr. Dale. The others live with their parents in the village and have a weekly allowance for their work. The healthy appearance of these children has frequently attracted the attention of the traveler. Special regulations adopted by Mr. Dill have made this factory very different from others in this kingdom. Out of the nearly 3,000 employed in the mills from 1785 to 1997, only 14 have died.
Only 14, guys. That's all right.